Okay, we welcome all of you to this time of our service. Not sure exactly how everything's supposed to work here yet. We'll figure that out. So, Sheldon, do we need to be in the mic for everything to come into our live stream? Or okay, that helps. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and invite our panel members to go ahead and come forward and find your seat at the table and familiarize yourself with your microphone and open your bottle of water, take a sip, whatever you want to do there. Get yourself comfortable there. That's great. And I'm going to take a look at some of my notes here. However y'all want to be seated is just fine. That's great. Okay, just a little bit of intro here. This being the replacement of our normal time worshiping through the giving of a message, consider this your message. And so we want you to worship today in this time. And specifically, I would just like to encourage us to give thanks within our heart, spirit of thanks for what God is doing through these young people's lives and has done through this experience of going to CBS and learning. So just keep that in mind as we go through this here today. CBS is designed to be a platform for our young people to both learn and also get to form relationships with others out and about. And so one of the resulting things out of that we like to see is the ability to, at some point, some level, articulate or put into words what it's like to be a Christian or to testify, share testimony. Even the scripture talks about the importance of testimony. In fact, today, just to emphasize that a little, in our men's Sunday school class, it was pointed out how that we can blaspheme the Holy Ghost. God has given us power in our expression. And if we as humans are able to affect that connection with God, I believe the very same power is also there when we give expression to what God is doing in our life. So I do think that that's a valuable and important aspect of our Christian life. I made a WhatsApp group and communicated with the members about what we sort of were planning or looking for today. And so I hope they're relatively familiar, at least, with what to expect here. But I told them that while I provided them a set of questions that they could sort of prepare answers for, I do have some questions that I did not provide them, as well as I also gave them a fair warning that we want to open it up to you, the audience, okay, at some point for you to ask questions. So we'd like to invite you to be thinking about that and prepare some of your questions. What are some of the things you'd like to know about their CBS experience? With that, I'd like for you guys to just do a little mic check. Get familiar with your mic. I'm assuming they're turned on. Make sure that, and Sheldon will sort of figure out if things are situated well or if we need adjustments. You can just speak in there, testing.
Testing.
There you go.
Testing.
Go for it.
Testing.
Good.
Testing.
You bet. Make yourself at home. This is not a crisis. This is a fun time here that we're getting ready for. So I'm going to be seated, and we'll get ready to dive into this. I have a feeling the time is going to go quickly, and so we want to give this a fair chance. First, I would like to begin with going around the lineup here, and I'd like for you just to tell the audience what were the topics you took, what were the subjects that you took, and if you care to share who had that topic or who was your teacher, that would be great as well. So started with Wayne and moving to your right.
Okay, so for me, I took Anabaptist History and Theology. It was taught by Elam Stolzfus. And then also, I guess, kind of the class would have been choir, but that was to get ready for our choir tour. So that was done by Brian Peachy. And then my second class would have been Psalms, which was done by Tim Miller. And then my third class was Kingdom Stewardship, and that was by Brian Shank. Yeah. And yeah, there's the class that I took.
So I also took Anabaptist History and Theology by Elam, and then my second class was actually a split class, like for the first 3 weeks and then the second 3 weeks. So the first 3 weeks was Christian Family by Marion Miller, and then the second 3 weeks was Ezra and Nehemiah taught by Stan Nisley, and then I also took Kingdom Stewardship by Brian Shank.
For my first class, I also took Anabaptist History and Theology by Elam, and my second class was Muslim Evangelism by Chris Stolzfus, and my last class was also Kingdom Stewardship by Brian Shank.
My first class was Hebrews by Brian Shank, and my second one was Muslim Evangelism by Chris Stolzfus, and then my third class was Kingdom Stewardship by Brian Shank again.
Okay, thank you for that. And can everybody hear okay? Or do we need to speak up? Okay, let us know if you can. Yeah, all right. Thank you for that. Okay, this took me down memory lane. I have been to CBS, and so it was good to go down memory lane and to think about what CBS was like. And so with that, I'd like to dive right into the questions here. Um, the first one is for each of you. Can you just briefly describe your experience at CBS studying and learning? What was that to you? Starting with Wayne.
Um, well, I knew there was going to be a lot of studying before I went to CBS, schoolwork and whatnot, so I kind of expected that. But I didn't really expect the 0 to 60 it was going to be because, I was used to hanging out around here, and my daily life was just going to work and whatnot, so I didn't have to use my brain that terribly much. And then all of a sudden, getting thrown into classes and having to remember how to, hang out with a whole bunch of new people, it was extremely stressful, especially for the first 2-3 weeks. I'd say I had headaches constantly. For I think the second week I had constant headaches. It was pretty rough, and I was taking I think it was ibuprofen each morning so I could get through classes, just so I could focus. But yeah, it was a rough start, I want to say, but once you got settled into the entire thing, it wasn't that bad. Uh, the classes became, or you settle into the rhythm of knowing what you're expected of doing in the classes, and yeah, the studying became relatively not easy, but it became easier. So yeah, while it was a rough beginning, it got better.
So for me, like the first day or like first couple days, I was majorly questioning my life decisions. Um, I also did not expect the notes like so much studying. Like the second day, there was already like a essay that was due. Like it was like 400 words, and from not having any essays to now having lots of essays, that looked a lot really big. Um, so it was very overwhelming and stressful for like the first like week or two. Um, but then yeah, it got like a lot better, and you got to like get to know people, and the homework became easier. 400 words didn't seem like a lot because then you had a term paper that was like 12 to 2,000 words. So yeah, it was really overwhelming, but it was also really stretching, and it just really opened your mind to like a lot of things. Um, you did get kind of so much information in your head. It was very hard, like you just like kind of scatterbrained and your mind gets all muddled. But then at the same time, you're having a lot of fun and you're learning a lot. So it's really kind of confusing, conflicting emotions. But yeah, it was a really good experience.
For me, it was also a little hard, like at first, because we had like our first day, like our one class had like a paper page long due the next day, which I was not used to like writing those. Even in school, it was just like maybe 700 words at the most, if that. But it was kind of nice, like having that much homework in the first couple days, because I didn't have to like talk to people that much, because I could just use homework as an excuse to like be busy with something else. And I don't know. Also, like a lot of the stuff in the classes, like I sort of had an idea what it was about, but I didn't really understand it that well, or no one really like outright taught it to me. So it was just nice having teachers that didn't really rush over anything, and they took their time to fully explain everything about whatever questions we had.
Well, this time when I went, I must say I was feeling a lot more confident. I did not have quite as many of the issues that they were describing. But I will say, though, the first time I went, though, last year, when I went, I did not know anybody at all. And, going down this long gravel drive into this secluded rural area, I was starting to regret everything at first. Then later, I would say probably after 2 weeks, then I don't know, my outlook definitely started to shift, started to change, and especially the last 3 weeks in particular, they were just, incredible. And that was what convinced me to come back again. But then this year as well, I would say collectively the entire term was just thoroughly enjoyable. And it's a great experience. You meet a lot of people. It's weird to think about, but like there's all these strangers that you don't know when you start, but by the end of it, like, all these people, and you make some really good friends, and it feels like you must have known them your whole life. But it's kind of a weird thought. But then, of course, also like the amount of things that you learn, it's crazy how packed it is, and it is very stressful to try to get all this stuff done. But it is still like absolutely worth it, and like you kind of get to learn what you're actually capable of doing, because it is more than you think it is. And, it's a very valuable experience.
Very good. Thank you for that. So one of the questions that I had was, what's it like to drive 5 miles off of blacktop, back a dirt road, and arrive at a place where there's a lot of people you don't know, and you study the Word of God? But I think you sort of kind of answered that a little bit, and feel free to comment on that if you want to. But I'd like to pivot and go to the next question that I have. I'm not sure that this was in our list here that I sent to you all, but give us your routine or your schedule. What did you woke up, and then what do you do, and from there to the end of the day? What was that like? I'll take volunteers for that. Just speaking of that, what was your schedule like for the day?
Well, so you start, breakfast is at 7, and then see how this goes. So basically, when you get up, you can get up at like by 6:30ish. Some people will get up earlier if they want to have more time to study first thing in the morning. But anyway, then breakfast is at 7, and then that lasts an hour. Then at 8 o'clock, you have chapel, the first chapel. There will be like a brief devotional and some singing, things like that. And then, let me think here. After that, you go have personal devotions. Each person is supposed to go spend time by themselves and have their own personal devotions. And then at 8:45, I think it is, first period starts. And so then, everyone goes to their first period classes. Some people might choose to have an off period. So there's, you've got a few periods you can choose from which one you want to have off. But mine had a class in it. And then anyways, after that you have that lasts till 9 or something. 9. What?
9:50.
9:50. Yeah. Okay. And then after that would be chorus practice. Chorus practice then lasts an hour. And then after that, about 11, this second period class. And then by the time second period class is over, it's now noon, it's lunchtime. So then lunchtime lasts till from like noon to 1:10. 1:10 is then third period. And then that lasts about an hour. And then you have Bible reading and prayer, which, I don't know, might last 30 minutes maybe, 45 minutes. Yeah. And I'm losing track on what the times are, but anyway. Yeah. And then, but then after Bible reading and prayer, then you have fourth period, No, I had off fourth period. So by that time, like, yeah, my classes are all done for the day. So I have that period off to go study or whatever. And then after fourth period, I think it's like, let me think, 4:15 or something. Yeah. And then basically everyone has off and go play volleyball and things like that for like an hour-ish, give or take. And then at 5:30 is supper time. And then then that lasts, oh, I don't know. Oh, okay, till 6:15, and then you have the evening. It's called study hall. Everyone is supposed to be studying, like that is required. Other times it can be optional, but then you must be studying, and that will last like an hour-ish, maybe. 7:45, okay. And then there may or may not be an evening activity. Someone might, sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Someone will give a topic. Uh, yeah, it could be. It could be just about anything. I don't know. It's kind of hard to think of one very specific one right now, but yeah. And then other evenings we'll also just have extended study where there'll be nothing going, but then we have to study and you have to for like 2 hours straight or something, you know. But then there's after all that, I think 9:25 or something. Everyone has to be in their respective dorms. The guys are in the guys' dorm, girls in the girls' dorm. Then you can still stay up for a little while yet. I don't know, maybe 15-ish, 20 minutes, something like that. And then you have to all be in your respective dorms. And then you have dorm sharing, which is where each one just talks about how their day went and things like that. Or usually they'll have like it's called a dorm dad who leads out in the dorm, or a dorm mom as they would have, and just lead out and moderate everything. But basically, just everyone just talks about how their day went and yeah, whatever. And that pretty much wraps up a day. And then supposed to have the lights out by 10:30, but that doesn't always. Well, it rarely happened actually, but that's when it's supposed to be. But it is a somewhat loose rule, you could say. But that's basically a whole entire day.
Any of your others have anything to add to that?
Oh, actually, and also then Saturday is completely off for the like pretty much the entire day. There might be a study hall in the evening, maybe, but yeah. And then you get to go to town, go shopping. There's an escape room you can play in, or yeah, where you like solve a puzzle to escape a room, or you can play mini golf. There's just a lot of different things, coffee shops, and yeah, just have a good old time every Saturday.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Brings back a lot of memories. I think they're cutting you a little slack. So when I went, we had chapel every night, and so we really felt churched out. But you're right. I hear one key note: the intensity of it. It's intense. It was when I went, and so one of the deans once mentioned that we've got to keep these people, these young people, busy, or they're going to get in trouble. And so I don't know how you balance that out fairly. I have a little bit of a funny question here. So with the deans, would you rate them as strict or not very strict, or how would you rate those this time around?
Well, no, they're not very strict, or the ones that we had didn't.
Wow.
Well, yeah, they're not very strict. They are still responsible adults. They know when it's time to be serious, or when it's been a stressful day and it's time to let loose a little bit. You know, and because there's several instances where yeah, someone or a specific guy was having a bad day, and the deans are available to talk to whenever you need to. They have an open door policy where you can come to them at literally any point of night or day to come talk to them, and that's where it was really nice. I mean, I never needed it, but like there was a few guys that wanted it, and but then there's also the cases of where they give us ideas of how to goof off sometimes, where you questioned, are they actually responsible enough to be deans sometimes? Because yeah, I mean, they did not enforce the 10:30 lights out whatsoever. It was really left up to the individual dorms when they wanted to do it. So yeah, you're up till quite late into the night sometimes, and then mornings are sometimes a struggle.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, they are still. I feel very fortunate with the deans that I had this year, and yeah, I think that's what helped make the year or the time really good.
Thank you for sharing that. So that's great to hear. When I was at CBS, they were quite rigid at one point, but we had some characters there that needed it, so that was fine. Okay, all right. So I'd like to pivot and just go to. Can you tell us real quickly, beginning with Wayne and over the line, what was your favorite subject while you were there?
My favorite subject for sure was kingdom stewardship. It was probably the most practical class out of the ones that I took. Each of them had their own pros and cons, but kingdom stewardship definitely stood out the biggest to me.
Very nice.
Mine was probably the split class with probably Christian Family, and Ezra and Nehemiah. It was just the whole class was just really good, and it helped that the homework was in worksheets and not essays. Um, and yeah, he's like the both teachers were just very like they wanted to have group discussions, and they would split us into groups. And especially the last 3 weeks, we had like 3 groups, like each had 5 people in it. Um, and it was just yeah really good, like to get to kind of connect with the people in the group.
My favorite class was probably also Kingdom Stewardship. The teacher, like, he laid out the homework in a very easy way to understand. Like, we didn't have any surprise tests or essays like some teachers had, and he also just, like, didn't brush over any questions that you had, and he really explained everything in a way that was easy to understand, and he made sure everyone understood it before he would move along to the next thing. That was just really nice.
My favorite class was probably Hebrews, I think. I don't know. I do have something I like about each of my classes, but yeah, that class totally like shifted how I looked at the book of Hebrews. I just didn't realize it was as deep as it was. Like, there's so much in there. Before, I didn't really understand everything in it, but yeah, now especially, I have a lot more clarity, especially like on the authority of Christ, why he had the authority to supersede the law and nullify it, and things like that. Just stuff like that. That's just very fascinating, and I just have a lot. I don't know, just a lot more knowledge of and clarity on now.
Thank you for that. So, with our first question here, I think several of you took, maybe 3 of you took this class, but a question directed to Zachary. What were the highlights from the class on Anabaptist history and theology, as well as the impacts and the martyrs discussed?
Okay, I did not take the Anabaptist.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll open it up to you 3. Do you have anything on that? Any highlights from the class of the Anabaptist history?
Yeah, with Anabaptist history and theology, it was definitely more leaned towards the history aspect of what where Anabaptists came from, and yeah, different cultural impacts that they've had on society around them, and also what society's had on Anabaptism on Anabaptism itself. And yeah, I mean, we talked about theology and such with like why we do water baptism, all that, the most common things really. And yeah, it was a really good class in the way of learning a lot more about where we come from as Anabaptists, or where it all really started and whatnot, and yeah, just give you a deeper understanding and appreciation for what all of our martyrs went through. And yeah, then also doing that one skit or acting out a martyr scene from the Martyr's Mirror itself, studying up on that, and then also reenacting it to a certain extent was just really eye-opening, and yeah, just really good to learn about.
Wow, that's amazing, a reenactment. I'm certain that was quite interesting as well. Would love to have seen that. So do any of you other 2 have anything on that class before we move on?
One of the things that like really stood out to me and like the highlight in that class was how he like really the importance of community, and how you need to like togetherness, and you need to be like with the community and stand together and stuff, because one of the things that they were getting murdered and martyred and all that stuff, but they still like stood together and they still stood strong.
Amazing. Okay, for the next question, I've got pivoting to the Christian stewardship or kingdom finances, etc. That one directed to Leandra. Is there something you could tell us from that class that you enjoyed?
The main thing about the class was probably just the importance of realizing that God owns everything, and it doesn't really, no matter what, if we think the things that God does is fair or not, like, or the things He allows to happen, like God is the one who put it, or who gave us the knowledge of like good and evil, or He was the one who originally decided like what good and bad would be. So we don't really, I guess, have a say in what we decide, or if we think God is doing something bad, because He was the one who like put that in place at the first.
Thank you for that. And so our next question sort of goes to all of you. I wouldn't mind hearing from all of you on this. Where are we missing it in our culture today, specifically as Mennonites? What do you think we could improve in our approach to finances? Or are we on track? I'm sure they pointed out some places we could improve. Zachary, go ahead.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, that was kind of a hard question, but just having a more willingness or openness to reach out to other people and like outside of the church. You know, like we tend to be, I don't know, keep to ourselves more. Definitely, that would definitely be something that we tend to do. Yeah, I think in kingdom stewardship that was touched on some, like just having, just being way more open and interacting with the outside world and not be too just secluded in our own little circle, things like that. Yeah, I guess that would be one thing. But yeah, and overall, just strong encouragement to have a willingness to give and things like that.
And I'd also like to add about kind of finances specifically is the thing with kingdom stewardship is the fact of realizing that it's not our money. It's not we don't own anything. It all belongs to God, and we are just we are stewards of His kingdom. We asked Him how to use His money, use how we can use His money to further His kingdom. So that was really emphasized, is that we don't own anything. It all belongs to God. I don't remember the what was it? The three foundational principles. It was future accountability. God's owner. The first one was God's ownership. God owns it all. There's also, I forget the third, our management and future accountability. It was so yeah, the three core principles were that. It's just that's what that's, I don't know how to put it in good words and whatnot, but yeah, God owns it all. So we ask Him how to use it better.
Very good. Thank you for that. Pivoting now to a bit of a different subject. This one's directed to Brenda Liu. I think you had the class Nehemiah and Ezra. Is that correct? Can you tell us anything from that? What did you learn from that class?
I realized I did not know anything about Ezra and Nehemiah. The only thing I knew about them was about Nehemiah was the fact that he built the wall. And so it was really interesting to read Ezra and Nehemiah then, and we just we studied the returns, because there were three returns. The first one was I don't even remember what the name was of the first one, but the second one was Ezra, and then the third one was Nehemiah. And then it really talked about the hardships that the Jews went through, and their identity, and how they were very focused on they were Jews. That was their identity. So then he really touched, and I really learned a lot about finding our identity in Christ and not what we are. Yeah, and just kind of like a little bit like that. And then Nehemiah, we really would have talked about like togetherness and how they had teamwork when they were building the wall. And again, like how that's really important for churches.
Wow, that's powerful. Any of you others have anything you want to add to that? Okay, if not, going to the class that included Muslim evangelism. Wayne, were you part of that class? You didn't take that class? Zachary took that class? I may have been Leandra, okay. Can you share with us from that? I really, that one really spikes my curiosity. What, how did they articulate how to evangelize to the Muslims?
Well, I learned that Muslims are actually like, they are very friendly to outsiders, and they have a strong tendency towards hospitality and being very friendly. Yeah, things like that, which is pretty interesting, especially to people outside from them. I don't know. I think it's just a habit that they have in their Eastern setting. But anyway, one good thing you can do with a Muslim is to get his contact information, things like that, and invite him over to your house. Is apparently a very normal, common thing for them to do. And so to treat them in the same way is a good way to become good friends with them and things like that. And also, in terms of actually evangelizing them, they love to debate a lot, have arguments, things like that. And so that's actually a very effective way of evangelizing them, asking them questions about what they believe and things like that. But if you do actually end up debating a Muslim, it's good to not be constantly answering their questions. You have to ask them questions because they otherwise, you have to get them to defend what they are teaching in order to really get through to them. Asking them certain key questions, things like that. But also it's not super complicated once you are familiar with it because they all have very similar talking points. So within their religion, they are taught to recite. And basically what happens is they tend to have a lot of the same talking points. And so when you can learn how to respond to those, they have a lot of questions like they attack the Trinity, say it's illogical and things like that. Or the divinity of Christ, they think the Bible was corrupted, and you can just ask them, well, who corrupted it? And they might say the Jews and the Christians corrupted it, working together, like teamwork and things like that. And you can ask them, well, since when have the Jews and Christians, ever, worked together like that? And of course, they'll just go back to, well, Allah revealed to Muhammad that it's corrupted, and things like that. But then, you can ask literally just ask them, well, why Muhammad? How do you know that, he got a word from Allah and things like that? And of course, then you can also, point them to the Gospels then. And, well, especially once you can establish then that the Bible is not in fact corrupted, you can then use the Gospels effectively, show them why Christ is who he says that he is, and he wasn't just some special prophet, but he is actually the divine Son of God and things like that. I'm trying to think where else I was going with that. You have anything to add? Yeah. And also another thing in that class was we do have something unique that we can give to Muslims as well, as Anabaptists particularly. Chris covered 3 different main denominations of Christianity. He talked about the Reformed. They have a very individualistic view. It's about you personally, your personal relationship with Christ. Then you have Catholicism, which is about individuals connected to the church, which is then connected to Christ. But then the Anabaptists are, each one is collectively part of the body, which is the church, and then the church unified, connected to Christ. It's less about individual identity and more about collective identity. And so that is something unique that Anabaptists can offer Muslims because they come from a place where there is a heavy emphasis on a collective group identity. And so when they, if they leave that and, convert to Christianity, now they're confronted with a world where, it's all about individualism and things like that. And they don't have that group identity structure anymore. And so being able to offer that to them can aid them a lot in improving their Christian walk and sticking to it and not, defecting back to Islam.
Wow, thank you for that. And I see this clock is racing, and so I'm going to try to pivot here a little bit. I want to get to where we can take some questions from the others as well. Hopefully they're not sleeping and are awake and thinking. Just going here real fast. Wayne, what was your favorite recreational part there? Was it volleyball or anything else, or what did you like?
Volleyball is definitely I'd say, highlight of the recreational activities, or also the tournament itself, the volleyball tournament, and having a good team that came second in it, actually. So that was quite awesome. We did lots of other things as well, but volleyball is definitely the highlight when it came to those things.
Very good. Thank you for that. Leandra, just a quick question for you here. How did you, or what was good about the chorus? I understand you were singing for an hour a day. What was your takeaway on that? How did that impact you, singing for an hour out of the day?
I was sick for about 3 or 4 weeks or so I couldn't really sing, and I never realized how much I liked singing till I had to stand there and listen to everyone else singing. But also, since I couldn't sing, I paid a lot more attention to the words and everything. Like every song that we would sing, like at first, the more often we would sing the songs, the more meaning would come out of them. Even if we even on tour is when a lot was, because we never sang like a lot of the songs the whole way through. We had only seen parts of it, so it was really nice just singing the whole song together. Overall, I really enjoyed the chorus time.
Very good. Okay, and Brenda Lou, one final question for you. We're in the class on the Christian family. Was there anything there that you'd like to share with us about that?
Most of what it was about, it really brought in how much God ordained the home, and really the roles of father, mother, children, and teenagers or whatever, and really how they should act and what they're supposed to do, and also the role of a man and a woman. The man is the provider and the nurturer, and the woman's tenderness and or the woman's the nurturer and the tenderness, and the man is strength and provider. So it really touched on that stuff. Yeah, and so it was really enjoyable.
Very good. Thank you for that, and I'll open it up back for you all to make any closing comments, etc. What is the thing that, since you knew the panel discussion was going to come up, that your mind has been spinning and thinking about? It is probably something that I haven't asked, so be ready for that. And with that, we're going to take questions from the audience. Does anyone have any questions that you would like to ask?
Christians, and as we contemplate the elders and all that kind of thing, I think we need to really look at that. I believe they can lead and be examples and share in ways that would amaze us. Yeah, I was just impressed. I appreciate the way y'all shared and the willingness to share. I think that is something amazing that CBS does for some people. So, yeah, God bless.
Thank you for that, Sam. Okay, next. Jenny, please.
My understanding was that toward the end of the term there was an auction. I never really heard how. Now, we don't have to go into specifics. I know a little bit about that. But I would just like to know why there was an auction and what the proceeds went for.
So what had happened is that there was a sign-up sheet to get CBS merch. Two guys kind of got it together. They got a whole bunch of merch for everybody that wanted it. And then after all was said and done, there was 2 extra items of merch that nobody claimed. So we had a talent night. What it was a talent night, right? Yeah. And at the end of it, the 2 guys got together a group of a few of the other CBS guys to go up to the front and auction off these 2 items of merch. And yeah, it was just a fun thing that they wanted to do. They thought it would be funny, and also to see how much they could get for it. And yeah, the money that was made went to the offering, or no.
The Kendra, whatever, the offering came from the
Yeah, it went to, I'm sure you all know about her.
Kendra Yoder
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah, we went through the next day or something, or I don't know when it was. We went through and people gave a bunch of other options of different places to send the money to, but then we had a vote on where we wanted it to go to, and the majority vote was to go to that family.
Very good. Thank you for that. Okay, more questions?
What would be your sales pitch to other youth for voting?
Good question. How would you encourage somebody else to go? Don't think about going to CBS.
Well, I mean, you'll make so many unforgettable memories there. There's just, I don't know, yeah, there's so many, like, yeah, the positive memories far outweigh the negative ones, for sure. Like, I mean, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's so thoroughly enjoyable. You know so many people, you get to learn, so many people, and you make so many new friends, and even if you're more introverted or might think you might not enjoy that sort of thing, as far as I've seen, like, everybody that goes there usually ends up not regretting it one bit by the end of it. Yeah, it's just, and also, like, the amount that you learn is just, it's crazy how much you learn, and yeah, it gives you a lot of devotional material. It's very useful for that. But yeah, it never hurts to have more wisdom and more knowledge and things like that, and also, like, yeah, your social skills level up, your ability to interact with people that you don't know and things like that, it all just improves, and yeah, it's very, very beneficial.
Wow, thanks for pointing out some of those tidbits of social interactions, things like that. For me personally, I would just like to say we're not here to sell CBS necessarily, pushing that on anybody. There's also a lot of other opportunities, especially in the missions. I don't know if you all encountered the listing or names of other missions that are going on, and somebody could go directly to that, to VS, whatever it is, and also get some of these things that you get from CBS, which is a focus time, a studying time, a giving time, and a social interactory opportunity with others. So whatever God calls and leads you to, here today, the emphasis is what God is doing in these young people's lives, whether he's doing that here at home, whether he's doing that at CBS or any other place that God calls you to. That's what's most important. Okay, are there any other questions that anyone would like to ask?
Yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying listening to y'all and everything, and I just feel like I'd love to hear even more. I feel like there's so much more that y'all can share with us. And when y'all had the program at Bethel, there was just something about y'all's entire group that it just stood out to me, my wife and I. And even the talk to us maybe a little bit about what the experience of singing together like that was, and was that transformational to some extent to y'all or for y'all or the others, and also even the circumstance that brought y'all to Paris. How did all that work out, and what did that do for y'all that week in terms of events and stuff like that?
Thank you, brother. Y'all heard the question. Just dive in, any of you, all of you.
Yeah, for me, choir was definitely a huge part of CBS that I really, really appreciated. And well, in the beginning, learning the songs it actually wasn't overly that difficult because we were surrounded by lots of really good singers, or really talented people, and also Brian Peachy is an amazing conductor, and he thoroughly enjoyed the music and put a lot of work into putting together the songs that we were singing and had a nice theme that went with it. And once we learned the songs were relatively well and whatnot, it came not as much just about singing, but also we were feeling like we were actually worshiping when we were singing, which was definitely it's not something that I really thought about, but especially on tour is, yeah, we were singing the songs and we were having a good time doing it, and also realizing mistakes we made and all that and how we could do better. But we knew why we were up there. We had done a sit down and put down reasons why we were doing it, and yeah, it just felt like a good time of worship, and that's what I feel like the audiences got from it, was that we love what we were doing and we want everybody else to know about it, and so we do that through song. And the thing of coming to Paris then was, I think Brent Luke kind of orchestrated that a little bit. Because, I mean...
Wow, that's good, because we sure enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was great, because I forget the reason why it was canceled, going to the other one.
It was because of Kendra Yoder
It was,
and the
it was,
funeral.
yeah.
Because it was the same church.
Right, right. They were doing it was the same church that, yeah, that Kendra, she died at, and it was her congregation, and they felt like it was just going to be a bit too much to plan the funeral and then also host a massive group of youth to come sing. So they decided to, cancel that, and then I don't know how it got started here.
Well, okay, so someone texted me and asked if I had thought about it. And I had, but I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, that's not my place and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll give you the information that you can tell the ministers to contact Peachy. Because I was not really going to be caught in the middle. So I did that, and but yeah, I think there was a thing of miscommunication, like the number the original text didn't go through or something. So I think Zach or something did something then.
Well, I think it went to Peachy's spam or something. Peachy is the name of the director. It went to his spam or something, maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, and so James, I saw your message on the Brethren chat about
Yes.
it. You still haven't gotten an answer, and you don't think this is going to work out. And I was like, I almost didn't say anything to him. I was afraid maybe he didn't want to do it. And so I almost didn't say it. I was like, well, no, I'm going to say something. And then I asked him about it, and he had no knowledge of it. He had no idea. So, yeah, and he was kind of surprised, and I was like, is that okay? And he's like, yeah, it's okay. It's just, he just has to, process it, because he was already, planning to be home, a day earlier. And so now he has to, shift his focus again. But anyway, yeah, then I gave him your contact information, and yeah, obviously it worked out.
Yeah, and when everybody heard that we were going to have the final program, then everyone was super excited that it was going to happen, because when we first found out that the last program wasn't going to happen, we were pretty bummed out. It was pretty sad. We had it planned, and we wanted that to go through, and then yeah, our focus shifted to, okay, I guess we'll just go home a day earlier. That's great. And then this worked out, and then I don't remember, did everybody cheer or not, but I'm pretty sure there was some cheering going on that the final program was going to happen. So that was really great, and then it also was extra special to ISUMUS, because, especially to me, because it was here, or in our home community. And going through everybody else's communities was also super great, because I got to meet all the other guys' families, and that was super cool to get to meet the people that they grew up with, and you could see where they got their personalities from. And yeah, it was just super exciting that it ended up being here, and then I also got to introduce my family to my dorm guys, and they were super excited when I did that.
That really is amazing. And it really feels to me like God was working in that circumstance. I remember we had a brethren activity, and I shared, and didn't get much feedback, and I sent him a text, Brian a text, didn't hear anything. It really felt like, there just wasn't the appetite, or just wasn't coming together. And so I put that on the brethren chat, and then Zachary saw that and intervened. And so thanks to all of those that played a role in this, from the originator of the original thought. I don't know whoever that was. It doesn't, yeah. But that message, Brenda Lou, that's, and for Brenda Lou to get with the boys and bring that about. And it really, just my personal experience being there in the program and sensing that you all have been in worship to the extent that I felt to me like this was almost a Mount Sinai moment. Y'all have been worshiping so much, there was a glow, and it really was almost transformational to me to sit and listen to that. Does anyone else have anything on that? How was the program for you?
Even the bus drivers were saying that the program here was the best one of the whole.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Good. Very well. Okay, does anyone else have anything before we give them just a minute here to wrap up?
Zachary had a good sales pitch in going to CBS. He went the year before.
Yeah.
Just to say, well, this is one out of our workforce. But then next year, we went 3 out of the workforce.
Wow.
So what are we going to do now? But anyway, we made it. We made it through. And I'm very blessed to hear what they have to share now around the cutting table. If y'all want to hear more, come over someday and you will find out more.
Wow, that really is interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Lewis. And while you made a sacrifice to let them go, I think that you're seeing already the fruit of so doing. So that's wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, time is going fast here, so I'd like to just give you an opportunity to make any closing comments about your experience. What would you like for others to take with them as of what God can do in a life that is committed to Him and surrendered to Him? Whatever you have to close with is fine.
Yeah, for me, first hearing about CBS last year when Zach was planning on going, I was like, it sounds kind of off. I don't feel like I want to go there. It sounds kind of whatever. And then Zach didn't really give a sales pitch as per se. It was more just coming back with all the fun stories. And then I was like, well, I'm convinced. This is great. I want to go now. And now that I've gone, and as most of you know, I have a quite outgoing personality when I'm here, or people at youth know that I'm quite an outgoing person here. But then at CBS, I was the complete and utter opposite. I did not talk to really anybody the first few weeks. It was pretty rough. People had the first impression was that he's just some quiet, weird guy that's just there. And and then I really got into my shell a little bit later. And then, yeah, it was really fun for them to get to know who I was. And so now I fully plan on going back next year just so that I can, be in my element, kind of, because I now know what to expect. I know what's going on, and I can give everybody else, all the new people, a good time as well, so that they can have try to give them as good of an experience as I had, because I was very privileged to be able to go with third term this year, and yeah, dorm life is really awesome, because you're just hanging out with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds. They're just kids. And they love to have fun, but they also know how to take stuff seriously. I feel like, yeah, this year was probably one of the best ones, and like throughout, I want to say CBS history, and it was really fun to be a part of it. And so now I can go back and make everybody else's year or everybody else's time a lot better. So that's kind of what I want to go for. the lessons are great and all. It's not the focal point. It can be if you want it to be, but it's more about socializing and learning new people. Yes, you learn so much stuff, but that stuff you can forget and whatnot. But the friends you make there are. I still talk to several of the CPS guys that I hung out with a lot, especially my dorm. And yeah, it's just a super special experience to have gone to.
Um, for me, like dorm life was also really, really great. Um, it was a lot better than I expected, living with 5 other girls in this small space. Um, but it was like really great, and like I would like it was so good, and the people who had gone like last year, like the girls, they made you feel so welcoming. Like especially like the new girls and stuff. Um, so I will also I also hope to be able to go next year, and it would be really like I would hope to be one of the girls that would like welcome others and just help them have a good time as well. Um, but yeah, like not all dorm experiences are the same. Each dorm is different. That is one thing that we have to that I have to keep in mind. Cause like this year's like dorm life was so good. Um, and everyone was so caring. Like everybody, it was really good. Um, and yeah, you meet a lot of people, you make lasting friendships, you share a lot with them, and they share a lot with you, and it's just really good, like the friendships. There's also hard things sometimes, but a lot of times that brings you closer um, to them. So yeah, and the classes, they are very good, and a lot of good conversations with the friends and with people came from classes. Like the class discussions would reach out to like lunch table or supper table. So that was really good.
For me, I guess I figured I would. Well, I'm really bad at like talking to people, like especially ones I don't know or anyone in general. But anyways, I figured I would just hate all of it, and I just thought, like, I have my friends here at home. There's like no one that can like replace them, and like the friends at CBS, of course, don't replace them. But it's like they can. Like it just makes me realize that everyone like has similarities like with them, and like everyone's minds sort of work the same. Like the more I would talk to people later on in term, like the more I realized like when I was having all these thoughts that I thought no one else would, like every every other person was having them as well. And also for me, I had an ear infection for like a week, so I couldn't hear anything, and quite a few of the people just assumed I was deaf, and I guess I didn't really make it known that I was actually just sick. So even after I was better, like I had still people yelling at me, and it was a little awkward because I didn't know if they were actually yelling at me or if that's just how loud they talked or if they still thought I was deaf or something. But anyways, but like in the last 2 weeks, I probably had the most fun, and I am really glad I went, even if like the first quite a bit of time was not the greatest. But anyways, yes, everyone was way nicer than I expected. Also, I was expecting like some people like I don't know to not like other people that much or more fighting or something. I don't know what I thought was going to go on, but anyways, it's very enjoyable.
It's kind of hard to decide exactly what I wanted to speak about for the closing thing. I guess I could talk a little bit about some things I learned in my Kingdom Stewardship class that kind of like, I don't know, shifted how I look at life, I guess. So like, we studied the book written by Randy Alcorn. It's called Managing God's Money. And he had a very simple diagram, whereas, a dot and then a line protruding from the dot. So basically the dot is our life, and then the line, which goes on infinitely, is eternity. And so basically, don't live for the dot, live for the line. Yeah, I don't know. It was just that very simple concept. And I've heard similar ways it was put before, but I don't know. I guess it just hit me a little different this time. But that's something that really stuck with me that I think I'm gonna remember for a long time.
Okay, thank you to you all for being willing to share. And audience, are we grateful for them sharing? Can we get them? I know time is going on, so I know CBS, they sang a lot. They probably had some choruses and things they sang. I don't know what you sang, but for closing, I would like to sing one verse of Our God, He is Alive. And so if we could stand to sing that, let's sing that, and then I'll pray a closing prayer on the service. I'd like you to stand. Our God is upon a tree, alive was willing there to give, that He from sin might set men free, and evermore with Him could live. There is a God, He is alive, in Him we live, and we survive. From dust our God, He is our God, the great I am. Let's bow our heads and pray. Lord, we come before you to close of this service today. We're grateful, thankful for what you have done in our lives, each of us, and especially in these young people's lives here. Just thank you for their testimony. Thank you for the words that were spoken today. And just pray, God, that you will bless them in their lives as they go forth. And just pray, Lord, that you would direct as they serve. Just pray that others could be blessed. So now I pray, Lord, your dismissal of us here today, a blessing that you go with us. Would you guide and keep us in your little way until you call us home? We pray this in Christ's name with thanksgiving.